This is Unit 1, Formative 2, Day 7 video on literal equations. Literal equations are equations that have more than one variable. You can think of these as kind of like formulas. Formulas are literal equations. We have two equations here. The first one is a simple one variable equation, but I'm going to use it to help us solve the second equation. So if you recall, to solve our first equation here for x, I need to divide both sides by 4. So x equals 5 over 4, or 5/4. If I want to solve for x on our second equation as well, I just got to remember it's the same strategy, the same inverse operation. So because it's y times x, I have to undo multiplication and divide both sides by y. So x here is equal to z over y. You cannot combine the z and the y together because they are different variables. On these next two equations, I want to solve the first one for t. It's very similar to the last one. It has r times t, so if I want to get t by itself, I have to divide both sides by r. So when we do that, t is equal to d over r. Again, you cannot combine those two variables together to make a new variable. My I equals PRT equation, I want to solve for p this time. So if I want to get p by itself, again, I got to note that it's all multiplication, so I have to divide by RT on both sides. So p is left, p equals I over RT. Let's look at these two here. First one we've solved before, just a good reminder here. If I want to solve for x, I notice it's x minus 3. So to get x by itself, I'm going to add 3 to both sides. 7 plus 3 is 10. So x equals 10. Let's solve for s on this p equals s minus c equation. Same step here. I notice it's minus c, so undo subtraction by adding. So let's add c to both sides. So s equals, here you can't combine p and c. They're different variables, so you have to keep it separated like that. Just write p plus c. So let's solve for h on our area of a triangle equation. Another way you could write this equation is to write it like this. A equals BH divided by 2. Both ways are correct. But again, we're solving for h, so let's circle the h here. How do we get rid of the 2? Since it's division, gotta remember we're going to multiply that by 2, both sides by 2. So we get 2a equals bh. Again, we're still solving for h here. Next, we have to divide both sides by b, because that's multiplication over there. So h is equal to 2a divided by b. Keep them separated. They're different variables. You cannot put them together. So we have a question here. A rectangle has a perimeter of 84 centimeters and length of 35 centimeters. We want to find the width of this rectangle. So I don't know if you remember, but if you can recall, the perimeter equation for a rectangle is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. So let's just plug in what we know. We're given 84 centimeters as our perimeter. The length is 35, so when we substitute, remember we want to use parentheses. So 2 times 35 plus 2w. Let's just solve for w here. Let's simplify first. 84 equals 2 times 35, that's 70, plus 2w. Remember, we want to get w by itself, so we got to subtract the 70 first. 84 minus 70 is 14. We're left with 2w. We finally divide by 2 on both sides to undo multiplication. The width is 7 centimeters. Don't forget that label. It's important to label your answers in story problems. Our last problem here is converting negative 78 degrees Celsius into degrees Fahrenheit. So when I want to do that, I want to plug in the negative 78 in place of the C. And on this problem, you might want to use a calculator here. But, let's see if we can just do this here. If I take negative 78 times 9 divided by 5, I get negative 140 and 2/5 as a mixed number. Let's go ahead and add that to 32. Adding those together, if you use a calculator, you should just get negative 108 and 2/5. If you didn't use a calculator, just remember 140, take away 32, that's 108. Drop your fraction. So negative 108 and 2/5. So roughly, negative 78 degrees Celsius is negative 108 degrees Fahrenheit. Don't forget to put your label. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.